Hey, it's me, the world's smartest painter, and I am at my lunch break. I'm running a little late in the day here. It's 2 days after we got back into daylight savings time, or it was the spring forward part of that. It's been hot, and I'm driving about 120 miles a day to get to the job and back, so I'm a little bit wore out. It's about 3 o'clock, a little after 3 in the afternoon by the time I finally get around to lunch. But that's all right, because it'll be light till 7. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about, I made a tape the other day, and I ended up throwing it out because it was too long, and so already I'm wasting time with this one, telling you stuff you don't need to know. But I want to talk a little bit about, this is almost a philosophical thing, but it's also a political thing. I'll roll my window up here because it's a noisy street I'm parked on. The idea is that you know what the yin and yang is, right? That's the sort of the female and male aspect that is believed to be the basic, the basic two units that are complementary in Chinese philosophy. And sometimes people think that they're warring, and other times they think that, they're complementary, the yin and yang. But, you see the thing that's like two paisleys stuck together, or, two fish, or a 69, or whatever it is, the way that, that little symbol that's sort of the nested figures there that symbolize the yin and yang. And the longer I've been alive, the more I've realized that human beings break down into roughly these two energies, even though in the Chinese sense, usually one is considered to be sort of negative, and female. So, I'm not going there. The yin is thought to be sort of dark and negative and female. And yang is more bright and happy, positive, and male. And I don't buy into that, of course. There's a lot of what the Chinese think, in the ancient Chinese philosophy, I find wanting. But anyway, I do think that they were onto something, that there are these sort of basic two things that we break down into. And I think in this country that you will find that liberals are essentially feminine energy. They are the yin, which is not to say negative. And conservatives are basically the male energy, the yang. Now, people have a tendency to delineate themselves this way. You get a group of people, you get a couple, they will tend to naturally migrate to filling slightly different roles, which doesn't mean they vote necessarily differently, but they will do something different. It's sort of the way of filling out the two essential energies of humanity. One being more nurturing, one being more sympathetic, more emotional. The other one being more, let's get it done, let's, be strong, walk it off, be tough. And that tends to be, of course, the conservative. The conservative tends to value those values more, and the Democrat, the liberal, tends to value empathy, sympathy, kindness, compassion, almost to the place where it becomes just so tiring to constantly hear about it. But I wrote a piece for my blog site called "Leave It to America," wherein I compare the divided ideologies to a warring man and woman who are easing toward divorce, sort of, being pushed there by a bunch of kibitzing voices. And I make them be Ward and June Cleaver, so that you can understand in the story the way that you really need both Ward and June to be the parents to the Beeve and Wally. And I think that we really need both of these energies, essentially. That we need to marry them together in order to make a complete picture, and in order to show for our children and the people that we are raising up into this society both aspects daring to advocate for their side, but always necessarily headed towards some sort of compromise with the good of whoever it is that they are protecting in mind. So I think that, we've gotten to this place now where, and I do it myself, I try not to do it, and I don't do it endlessly, but where people who disagree with me, will get into a battle about it, and I'm really trying to change their mind. They're really trying to change my mind. They want to vanquish me. I want to vanquish them. And really, ultimately, that's the natural way to go about it. But in order to really contribute one's energy to the world in a meaningful way, one has to balance that energy out with its oppositional energy. Don't want to use the word energy too many times, but can't think of another one for that, another word for that. But anyway, I think that is where we're headed, and I think the key thing is be as strong in your beliefs as you must be. Advocate for your own way, but know that you won't really do an awful lot of good in the world unless you find a balance with those people who oppose your energy, and certainly you won't change their minds unless you are. I might be talking to myself a little bit here. Unless you are willing to at least entertain the possibility that somewhere between how you see the world naturally, or how maybe even you've grown more oriented to seeing the world, and how they naturally or have become accustomed to seeing the world is, until you can figure out that both of these things are a reaction to the world by one half of the essential human mind, and that it's the coming together where likely the solution will rest. Anyway, that's all I got today. Thanks. That's the yin and yang. Equals, how does that? Equals female, male, equals liberal, conservative. All right, if you like what I'm saying, subscribe.